Meeting to order, please stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like you to remain standing and have a moment of silence in memory of Mr. John Anderson, who passed away May 20th after 34 years of service to the Manistee Township Board. Thank you. Okay, motion to approve the minutes of the May 12th Manistee Township Board meeting and the June 2nd special Township Board meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
And move, is there support? Support. And move supported that the May 12th and June 2nd minutes of the Manistee Township Board be accepted and placed on file. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Carried. You've received a copy of your treasurer's report.
I'll also make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
It's been moved and supported that the treasurer's report be accepted and placed on file. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Carried. Township Planning Commission meeting as of May 11th. They were approved and are in your packet. There was no appeal? No appeal. No correspondence. Anyone with anything to bring before the board at this time? Ladies? Is there something?
What?
Is there something you'd like to address the board about?
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Is there something you'd like to address the board?
I would like to speak to the drain commissioner
Okay, he's on the agenda, ma'am, if that's okay?
when when it's on your agenda.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Dotz?
Oh my God.
Okay. Last board meeting, Mr. Kaminsky reported to us, I don't know if we have been or will be named in a lawsuit by Jack Garber. And part of that is Ford Stone recused himself from that trial because obviously of knowing Jack. And Mr. Spinola, who's the prosecutor down in Mason County, filled in for him. He'll be named in that because he was the prosecuting attorney, even though prosecutors have full immunity, still named in the suit. So where it's going to go, don't know, obviously at the moment. The DNR approved their county rec plan, which is good, and we're quite happy to have that. Summer tax levy under PA 357 was approved. Autopsy location for the medical examiner is looking at Mecosta County. They've got a very nice facility down there. Latest, I just saw Kaminsky this afternoon. He said that we're possibly investigating having a 4-county region for the medical examiner. And the current medical examiner is extremely active. I mean, she is in the courthouse frequently. If there's anything going on from a loss, from a policing, you know, so if something needs to be investigated, she's out there. That's something they haven't had in the past, from what I'm being told. And she's doing an aggressive, very good job.
Where is she from?
She's actually local.
Okay.
Kind of came back home recently.
Okay.
The name is Lois Goslanowski.
Did she do a lot of autopsies?
Not enough. That's one of the reasons for looking at Benzie, Grand Traverse, Manistee, and I don't know if it'd be Wexford, I forget the third one. Possibly Linlox, one of the extra ones that are in that make up the 4 counties. Have a new phone service provider, Merit. That was a cost savings to us. That was recommended by one of our consultants, Abilita, and Gordon McClellan, who is our technology support in the courthouse. Resolution 14 for 2016, assumption agreement for the airport. I've never heard the term assumption agreement before, but that's when we thought we had everything done correctly years ago, when the city relinquished their portion of the airport to the county, and it was just a county airport. The FAA wasn't notified in the proper name, in the proper way. So this assumption agreement clarifies everything where the FAA is going to be content and allow the dollars to flow that wouldn't really be coming in the black. Had to move a recycle trailer or location from the Betsy Valley recycle area down to the Springdale Township Hall. There's been a lot of contamination going into that one. So they don't have the same issues going on with it being at Springdale Township Hall, and they're going to have some surveillance on it. Household hazardous waste day is August 28th from 9 to 2, and there will be no latex paint accepted. Last year, the paint was allowed to come in, and it brought everybody, you know, it was huge, a huge day out there. And the reason they're not taking the latex paint is because you can put kitty litter in it, you can put paint dry in it, you can let it out and sit it out and get hard, and you can dispose of it normally to your normal waste stream. So there's no need to take it. So, Resolution 16 for the M22 Pure Michigan Byway was adopted by the county board. So that goes in line with what you folks did here. So all the M22 all the way up through now to Benzie counties, which is what ours portion was for, but Leelanau County already had theirs in place. Regional Summit is September 15, and back in Wellston at the Norman Township Community Center, 8:15 a.m. to 3 p.m., and the cost per person is $15. So hopefully we'll have some good attendance out there for that. Sharon Goebel was nominated to the Planning Commission. We still have one vacancy we need to fill this coming month. And Bob Rochelle forgot to sign up for it, otherwise he would have been put back on. He said he's definitely reapplying, so we'll see where that goes, or who else may have applied. District 10 gave us their annual report. Kevin Hughes reminded us of their statewide accreditation every 3 years, and last year they got national accreditation for a 5-year cycle. The county audit came back. We've increased our assets $120,000 to a total of $24.4 million, and it was unmodified, is what you want to hear in an audit these days. So we were unmodified. They were quite content with everything. Basically, that's all I've got. Oh, I take that back. The hospital, we're getting very close to having a deal set with that, but it's still ongoing. The big thing is the ambulance service is going to be maintained as it is. And it's a big one for all of us, for the entire county. Major concern. The armory, I think I might have recorded you last month that we're out of that. I don't know where that stands as of today. MAPS was going to try to assist the 12th Street project in acquiring that armory for them. Their legal counsel told them they could not for specific reasons, so they came back to the county. And I've asked to get their legal opinion as to why MAP's going to, see if it applies to the county or not. The county does not want to own the building at all, as I've told you in the past, but if at all possible, we can legally work as a pass-through and assist the 12th Street project. You know, that's all we'd be looking at doing, just kind of helping them get it at a much better value. We certainly don't want to own an armory. That concludes it.
Any questions for Jeff? If not, guys, is there anything going on in your office?
Well, there were no complaints, and 4 receipts.
There were no complaints.
No written complaints.
4 receipts?
4 receipts. I think I mentioned last month that it seemed like fences were the topic of everybody's construction. This month it's all accessory buildings, all 4. So, I've had, I think there's going to be 1, 2, I've had 3 requests for putting up tents to sell fireworks on a temporary basis in the township. I haven't issued any permit yet, but I expect to. And then there's the one on Little Rivers property, which they don't need a permit for. So there might be 4 of them within, between 55 or whatever, within the township or one commercial corridor.
Should be good reach.
Yeah. That's it.
Any questions for Guy? Thank you, sir. Chuck, you got anything going on across the street?
Yes, for the month of May, we had 7 fire-related calls, 18 medical, and 5 station trainings or meetings. 30 activities for the month of May. Personnel hours were 196. Chief and officers had another 74, so a total of 270 hours for May. 132's pump, that's the older tank of the 2, the pump doesn't want to engage the RPM or idly can't adjust it, so I'm waiting on a call back from Circle K to see if they're available to come back and take a look at it. It's given a fault code on the pump panels, electronics. Everything else in good working order. 133 is now gone. Went to the orchard, out the pasture, so to speak. It'll give them a good service probably for another 30 years. We should find out June 13th from Revenue Sharing Board on about $5,800 that we have applied for helmets, snow mix, hoods, and gloves. No word yet on the FEMA grant. That was for $105,000 with a 5% matching for SCBA's. They're about $6,500 apiece. Right now we have 1 new applicant at this time. If you know anybody that's looking to volunteer for the fire department, that's extra time. Lots of extra time if you're willing to take a look at it. No word back on the flashing amber lights that are where our current fire truck signs around 31. I probably won't hear anything on that until probably the end of the fiscal year, or the state's fiscal year. Right now, putting together a DNR 50/50 grant. That's up to $4,999 they'll match. So that's going to be for wildland fire equipment, basically PPE, helmets, shirts, pants, fire shelters, stuff like that. Other than that, the spring wildfire season's kind of wrapping up, but still be mindful of when you can burn. Make sure you call and get a burn permit, and make sure you kind of want
The number's still the same?
Yes, well, normally a lot of people just been calling direct, which is Dan, the Eskies number. And it's kind of went that way, which is fine. So it cuts down on the chaos here. That's pretty much it.
Any questions for Chuck?
Yeah. So you follow the DNR guidelines? If
Yes.
it's open in this county,
Yes, if it's
all we
open,
need to do is call.
yeah, if it's open in this county,
You follow that?
we follow that, and then we just, like I said before, so we know who's burning. So
Right.
you want to get a call and say, hey, there's a fire down there, and then you get the tones out in the county, unknown fire, and such, like, no, it's such and such burn, so you're not driving out for no reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you. You guys have any position on the Jaws unit and on that?
Yeah, there've been some discussions on that. I can talk to you after.
Anything else? Liquor inspector report, everyone is, Insta Lunch and Heathlands are now on board, back in business, so all licenses are active at this time. Revenue Sharing Board will meet Monday, 5 p.m., and that will be to distribute the grant money for Cycle 1 2016. Under unfinished business, the water agreement with the city, that's not completed yet, is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you have a projected time for that?
We're meeting with the city Tuesday.
I have to confirm that with that tomorrow, but that's the hope that we get together on Tuesday and things can get ironed out at that time. It was just
The
one small
attorneys
thing.
backed out of it and they wanted the parties to meet face to face to work it out, to work out an amendment, basically.
Okay. You need
And then they would write it up once we agree.
Okay. Anything else on that subject? Olson Road repair, we have a bid from the Manistee County Road Commission to, well, there's a list of work that they're gonna do. Basically budget, widen it, chip seal it, fog seal it. Manistee Township's portion of that is $59,500. We put enough money in next fiscal year's budget to make those repairs later on in the year. You have a copy of the proposal in front of you. What are your wishes?
I'll make a motion to approve or accept the proposal as presented after we've had considerable discussion in regards to it.
Is there a second? It's been, motion's been made and seconded to do the repairs to Olson Road
In next year's budget.
and out of next year's budget.
Out of next year's budget.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Fino?
Yes.
Mr. Dons?
Yes.
Taylor, yes.
Yes. Motion carried.
Motion carried.
We'll sign this agreement before the evening is over, and I will notify Mr. Schultz. Let's see what came up. Anything else under unfinished business? Under new business, Mr. Smith, the drain commissioner, is here to answer some questions. I anticipated some more questions on the assessments that have been projected. I understand, ma'am, would you like? Yes, ma'am. Would you like to address?
I presume you're the drain commissioner.
No,
No, I am.
Not me.
Ma'am. I am.
You are.
Yes, I am.
All right. I will address to you then. This is, I received a letter from you, evidently.
Mhm.
It was, the date on it, you said it May the 5th. I date my mail. I got it the 10th, okay? I received it,
Okay.
okay. So, that's an issue with me, because you're downtown, I know it takes one day for me to get the mail. All right, so, nothing we can do about that one, right?
I don't understand what you mean.
You mail out an official letter. It comes to me 5 days from town that I receive it. That isn't right.
Well, I mailed it that day. That's gonna have to be something with the post office.
Okay. Now, I'm not gonna knock my post office.
Okay.
I mail from my mailbox and it gets to town that next day.
Okay.
All right, when did you officially put something in the paper about this watershed pipe?
We put it in at least 10 days before the meeting was supposed to be.
Can you give me a date on that?
Well, let's see, it was the 19th, right? So it had to be the 10th, 11th, 10th, probably the 9th.
Okay,
9th. I'd have to look back at my record. I wasn't expecting. You're the only one that's ever said anything to me about it being late.
well, I have quite a bit to say and I hope I can
No.
come across to you correctly.
Is it, ma'am, is it something that we can help you with on the township board level?
I think the drain commissioner can help me.
Okay, if that's the case, rather than hold up our meeting, could you two discuss this? Would that be okay with you, Tom?
Sure, I have no problem with that.
Unless you have questions for the board.
They're gonna ask me a couple more questions here and then.
Would that be okay with you?
No,
Okay. Okay.
I made a special trip to come down here to talk to him.
Yes, ma'am, that's fine.
And he doesn't really know how upset so many people are. And I can't represent all of them, but trust me, there's many. And I'm sure you've heard it all. But it's just simple questions. He has the answers.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you want me to walk out, that's fine.
No, we were just asking if you could discuss it with him between the two of you rather than hold up our meeting. But that's fine, we can wait if you'd like to do that. We're not trying to put you aside.
Carol, are you here for the same issue?
Is
Or
he
you
here
bring
to
this in March
answer
done?
questions?
Yes, he will.
I'll answer the questions for you
All right.
now, okay?
Is it all right if I ask him some simple questions?
Okay, sure.
All right. I would like to know how this all came about. How are we assessed with this amount of money? How did this all happen?
We had a flood over here and we have a drainage district, it's called McGinnis. And I guess it was back in like 2010, 2009 or 8, they had a flood. And the drain office was petitioned to fix the drain because the drain failed. And that's what happened. I mean, once the office is petitioned by law, I have to go out and I have to have the engineers look at it, and we have to start a project if it's needed. We had a board of determination. The board of determination decided that the project was needed, and from there we carried on.
So this was in 2010, we had a problem.
When was that flood that they had out there? What year?
100 years ago.
I don't remember any flood.
I have a comment on Jeff, you remember the most 8?
I want to say probably 8, but I'm not positive on that.
08 or 09, it was one of the two. Yeah, it was before I was a drain commissioner.
Think we
We had a
have?
couple of years where we
It
had
was down
200-year
off
storms.
of what I refer to as Chippewa Village. There's 4 or 5 residents down there that had a problem. It was not a flood, but they wound up having a lot of problems in the basement areas and stuff, yes.
Lovely.
2 or 3.
And so we get this official letter that we're gonna be taxed come December, and it's one heck of a big tax. And
Okay, how much was your tax, ma'am?
how much are my taxes?
Yeah, how much was the tax that you were taxed?
I'm
the
gonna
assessment.
I have two lots, a back lot and a front lot.
Okay,
And it's 100 by 250.
okay.
How about $632.29 for my portion of the drain that interfered with 6 residents?
Now that's for 10 years.
No, that's if I pay it up front.
Or if you paid up front, yes, there'll be
It would be 10 years at 71 something
Yeah.
for 10 years. And the interest is 2.43 or something like
Yeah.
that.
And that interest will be taken off if you pay it up front.
Yeah, right. But that's a heck of a lot of money. Maybe not to a lot of people, but that's a lot of money for me and a lot of people. And I don't have the acreage that some people have. They're paying taxes on that. Plus, how is the ratio billed for somebody with 79 acres? to be a lot higher than my $632.
It is a lot higher, it really is, you know.
Yes, and then when it comes to commercial, people take people out of business, take their retirement. I'm sorry, people are really upset about this, and they have the right to be upset.
Right.
I mean, it's like, hey, this is what you gotta do. So it all came about with 6 houses flooded. It wasn't somebody cutting the pipe. And I understand it's a huge pipe.
The
When
pipe-
they put in the sewer, right?
The pipe is actually, the bottom of it is washed out and the pipe is collapsed. And that's what's back in the water. That would cause the problem. That drainage district was put in about 100 years ago. And once that becomes a county drain, then it's the county's responsibility to make sure it's maintained.
Well, how many more is gonna collapse? Do we move out of the township?
We only have this one drain, ma'am.
One drain, and I understand it's in front of fire, credit union. Where is this drain?
Oh, it's up by the Fire Township Credit Union in that area,
Yeah, yeah.
on Kemmer Road. Actually, it goes underneath Kemmer Road.
Yeah. Well, I guess you answered my question, and I'm sorry I took up your time,
That's fine.
but I do want you to understand, there is so many people so upset about this, and it looks like you're holding the cards.
Is that it? Is that okay, ma'am?
Yeah,
Okay.
I hope I was angry enough.
It did good.
Tom, I have a question for you. The projected payoff of that, like Mrs. Marks, that can't be done until the project is finished? Is that a fair
You can
assumption?
pay- No, you can pay it off anything you want.
So we know that it's gonna be $745,000
$725.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We know that it's gonna, that's what it costs.
Right.
Have you actually assessed those yet, Tommy? They can't pay it before you assess it.
No, I have to send it out, but
Yeah, you gotta actually do the
as a
assessment.
matter of fact, I'm working on the letters now as we speak, yeah. There's quite a few of them. And then I'm telling them what the percentages are that they would take off if they pay for cash. Because I was just sitting here figuring, I have the assessment roll here. If we didn't have to borrow the money and we could have got, a revolving fund, we could have saved about $43,000 just in interest.
Well, it went up way more than that since its infancy when it was originally started.
Yeah.
Actually, the original, back before I came into the picture, was 1.6 million. They were talking about the project.
Well, that would have been the high end of the high proposal.
That would have been the top notch of the thing. So I tried to cut it down as much as I possibly could, and I got it down to 725. Could have got it down a little bit lower, but there were some factors in there that I couldn't go around.
Well, I anticipated more activity on this subject this evening. That's why I asked you to attend,
I understand.
as well as you, Richard.
Mhm.
And
Well, do you guys have any questions?
I have one. Back when the original meeting happened, and I think that it was at the Board of Determination, there was discussion about a federal grant that was available that you write a letter of intent and it's done annually. And once you submit that letter of intent, they will invite you to apply for a grant if they feel like this fits the description of that grant. And that was going to happen, and I remember that it did,
Get a vote on it.
and that was considerable.
I can clarify that for you because that was a FEMA grant. And the problem is the scope of the project had to escalate significantly. So in order to acquire that grant, it would have been a wash to the taxpayers here.
Yeah, it'd been over $2 million.
You could not replace in kind.
It was called the saw grant.
Replace it, it's the same thing that you had. You had to expand it significantly.
Is that true for this year? When I look it up, it doesn't put that in the
That was,
description.
I don't know about this year, that was last year.
Okay,
Unless
so I'm
they
gonna
changed
print
the
out
game.
that stuff that because I happened to look at it last week just to see, what the steps were, and it was again writing a letter of intent to him, but it didn't sound like that to me.
I believe Ken Folk followed up with that, and with you, Tom, didn't he?
Yes. Yes, we did. And by the way, I tried to write a letter, we were going to write a letter of intent, and then we were told by the grant that that we had to have so much millions of dollars into the project, and it would have just turned out to be.
At the time that you were going to write that letter, when I talked to you, what you told me was that you had to first have an assessment together as to what it was that you were asking for, and you had to have all the property numbers determined, and so you could write the letter at that time. Did you follow up with another letter then?
No. I was told by FEMA that they wouldn't, that I was ineligible really. I mean, it was way out of our league.
Tom, I have a question, on the assessment roll here you have, and I'm just gonna use this as an example. Manistee Blackford Airport, you have exempt on their line, and then you have a figure. Are they in fact exempt?
No. No.
Exempt in what sense? Exempt from
Well,
the
it's the
assessment?
word exempt is on the line.
It says that they're exempt federal property, but if you extend over to the right, there's assessments on
There's
each
an
one of
assessment
those
amount.
pieces.
No, you can assess for a drain even against property that is tax exempt. So
Okay.
if you had a church in this district, you could assess the church, even though the church doesn't pay property taxes. The hospital is getting assessed,
Yes.
but it doesn't pay taxes on any
Okay,
of that
so
property.
the exemptions applying to the property tax itself,
Right.
they're still gonna have an
You
assessment.
can still have an
for this
assessment,
drain.
right, even though it's tax exempt, because an assessment isn't a tax.
Okay. That makes
An
sense.
assessment's not a tax.
That's true. That is, yeah.
I'm wondering I've heard so many different proposals on this, I'm wondering what was finally decided. Are they actually replacing the drain? Are they putting in an open ditch? Are they adding a drain out by the airport?
What we are doing is we're going to put a liner in the pipe. We're not going to remove the pipe or anything. We're going to just put they have a liner that they can put in. I tell you the truth, I've never seen it, but I understand it's quite unique how they do it. They have high pressure water, warm water. They push this through, it's like a sleeve. It goes through and it supposedly lasts for 50 years, if not longer. And we are also going to be putting in 3 culverts. One just across Kemmer Road, where it crosses Kemmer Road, and then where all the sinkholes were. And then we're going to put one down on Tubbs Road where there is an open one, graded one. We're going to put another. Then we're putting one behind. I'm trying the Comfort Center. It's going to be in that area. There's going to be one in that area, and then we also have one over by the hospital in that area there. But all we're going to do is extend it out because it's very about 3 foot deep.
How do you put a liner in a collapsed culvert?
Huh?
How do you put a liner in a collapsed culvert?
The culvert is not collapsed, but the bottom is washed out.
You said it was collapsed.
Well, I'm sorry.
Okay. I just, was questioning it because you did say it was collapsed.
I should have said failed. That's
Okay.
what I meant to say.
All right.
All right, thank
That's
you.
a choice of words.
Thank
Bad
you.
choice of words.
And then you're gonna fix the outlet is behind the hospital, correct?
The outlet behind the hospital there.
Okay,
And then we're gonna also do the maintenance on, we're gonna clean out, the brush. We're gonna clean it out, take all the leaners, all the trees down, clean out the thing from Kemmer Road to 31. We're not gonna go across 31. We're gonna leave that back as a kind of a buffer, so it'll build up back there and then slowly. But this is the. This is the veteran hospital. This is the
The number of ash trees that come down last year, no fire was going.
There was original talk about building like little dams behind that to
I
help
know.
handle.
Because they're-
None of that's going to be done in this
That's not
price?
feasible.
Not feasible. Okay.
And actually, if we do not remove, we just decided, the engineers, if we do not remove all the debris that's on the other side and just clean this up here so we have a free flow, it should take care of the problem. Unless we have another 200-year flood, you know, I mean, I can't. But on normal conditions, we should.
Well, I think plugging that hole up that's on Tubbs Road, that's where all the water came from that created a problem for the residents. Had that hole not been there, that water just would back up.
Yeah.
But, and I'm no engineer, so. Jeff and Tom, to your knowledge, has there ever been a maintenance fund for that drain? For what
No.
at that time was called the county drain?
No, never has been. I take that back. Yes, there used to be one. Back in the 20s and the 30s there was. But since then, they've have done nothing.
Could I ask a question? How come there wasn't a vote on this from the public people? Instead of it just going through? That's the only thing I'd like to know.
You mean put it on the ballot?
Right.
I'm not, you're not required to do that.
It wouldn't go through.
You're probably not. I agree with you, you know.
Now, there was a time when somebody could actually legally contest this, but that time is lapsed.
Yeah. There was a time that everybody's had all the appeals have been exhausted, I mean, not exhausted, but nobody's appealed. So, when you first had the Board of Determination, you had 10 days to appeal. Just like the assessments, you had 10 days to appeal them. There was I think that's about all the appeals that we have.
Going back to the date again.
Huh?
Going back to the date of when you got a letter.
Yeah.
Nothing, yeah.
Anything else for Tom? Or anyone on this subject? Thank you both for coming.
Can I see a letter in that, man?
I'm gonna stick around.
Good idea.
Please.
That's my fax number, but that's,
Are you all set there, Tom?
I'm fine.
Can we move on? I think you guys can.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was looking for a date.
Current year 2015 budget
I'll be a
adjustments.
little bit.
I needed it that time.
You received a copy of your budget adjustments.
Yeah, and I got it for 10.
Yeah.
But
But that's definitely what we've been doing.
you wrote it.
And we discussed that
Yeah.
at the work session, and we discussed it at the budget meeting this evening. Any more discussion on those adjustments?
You know, these questions.
Item number 3 is appropriations resolution to adopt the 2016-17 budget. You received a copy of resolution 2016. And you have opportunity to look it over. Entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
We have to,
Oh, wait a minute.
we have to do this before
Yes, we do. Yes, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I know, I'm on the third name in there, right?
We have to adopt the current budget adjustments first.
I make a motion.
Pardon me?
I make a motion that we adopt the proposed motion to modify the operating budget 15-16
as presented.
as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and supported that we adopt the operating budget adjustments for 2015-16. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None? Now, we can do the appropriation resolution to adopt the 16-17 budget.
I'll make a motion to adopt the appropriation resolution for the adoption of the 2016-17 budget.
I second that.
It's been moved and supported that the appropriation resolution for the 16-17 budget be accepted. Any discussion? Call a roll, please.
Mr. Feinholm,
Yes.
Ms. Jankowitz,
Yes.
Taylor, yes, Mr. Dawes,
Yes.
and Mr. Berquist.
Yes. Motion carried. Resolution to adopt the board salaries for 16-17. Board salaries are supervisor $12,300, the treasurer $18,000, clerk $21,600, trustees $300. As well as the, I won't go through them all, but there's a rate schedule here for the election workers, deputies, janitor, board review personnel, everyone that's involved in keeping the wheels turning here. The only change, we've increased the clerk's salary. I don't think we've increased it absorbently. I don't think we've increased it enough. This group puts in an awful lot of time to keep things going. I'd entertain a motion to adopt that resolution.
I make a motion to adopt the resolution for the township officer's salary.
Is there a second?
I'll support that.
Been moved, supported that the resolution to adopt the township officer's salary is accepted, placed on file. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Jankowitz,
Yes.
Mr. Feinholm,
Yes.
Mr. Dawes,
Yes.
I gotta say that.
Ms. Taylor, Ms. Dance, and Mr. Berquist.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
The bills for the month of June have been provided. You had an opportunity to look them over. You'll see an increase in the waste reduction figure, but that's because of our May trash collection day, which took in seven dumpsters?
No, we had 8 this year.
8 trash and 2 metal?
Yes, sir.
And I guess we didn't get it all, because it's still showing up over there at the recycle bin. I'd entertain a motion to approve the bills as presented.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills as presented and placed on file.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved, supported, the bills be accepted, paid, placed on file. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None? Carried. Thank you. Manistee County MTA will meet Wednesday, June 22nd, 7 p.m. at the Pleasanton Township Hall. Zoning Board of Appeals will meet Tuesday, July 5th, here at 7 p.m. Township Planning Commission will meet Thursday, July 7th, here at 7 p.m. Bar Lake Improvement Board will meet Monday, August 8th, 7 p.m. here at the hall. And the Manistee Township Board will meet Thursday, July 14th, 2016 at 7 p.m. here at the hall. We did not touch on the Bar Lake Improvement Board. Was there anything that needed to be said about that? Okay.
Nope. They didn't do the survey of the lake in May as they thought they would. They were gonna do it next week and hopefully do a treatment based on the survey the weekend. There wasn't a lot of news.
Any other public comment? David, I saw you come in.
Good evening, thank you for letting me talk for a second, just briefly. My name is Dave Bachman, and I'm a candidate for sheriff on the Republican ticket. I've been a police officer for 42 years, and for the last 18 years I've been the chief of police in the city of Manistee, and for the last 5 I've been the fire chief in the city of Manistee. So a police officer, a firefighter, and an EMT. I'm active in my community. I've done a lot of things in the community. For instance, just an update, I recently completed a project to provide locks for every classroom in Manistee County. I took all the schools and raised funds to put a lock in every classroom against an active shooter or a violent act. I raised about $15,000, and we took care of all the public and private schools, including the Catholic school, the Trinity school, Calva, Bear Lake, Winnequa, and all those schools. Other stuff I've done recently, like yesterday, I worked with the veterans, and I was a guardian for a World War II veteran. We went to Washington, D.C. on an honor flight. So it's just, I've been around for quite a while. I figured this is my hometown. I'd like an opportunity to serve. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to get hold of me. Thank you very much.
Any questions at this time? Thank you.
Sewer. I would like the township to consider assisting with perhaps expanding a sewer out the Lakeshore Road area. I'm thinking from the corner of Hill and Cott to Lakeshore, then north to Birchwood. Well, yeah, my house. Birchwood, down Birchwood, Piney, get all those, and if it's possible, maybe extend it south to Marlawn and pick up those houses. There are a lot of houses going in. They're getting bigger. They're getting more, and they're getting closer and closer together. We don't have clay layers out there. We're all in sand, and we're all going to start drinking each other's sewage before too long. I think you've got a critical density of population out there now. You've got a number of houses. Other than the state park, you don't have long stretches where you have to run a pipe with nobody hooking up to it. The federal government will pay for this through a 40-year loan, set up a special assessment district to defray that cost over 40 years. I would be happy to help if you want a petition, but it would be very nice if you guys would start thinking about that and maybe moving some forward. You may need to front some engineering costs to take a look at that, or a feasibility study, but if you do it right, all of that would be reimbursable as part of the project costs that could get funded through rural development loans and possibly even grants, although I'm not sure there would be any grants available. Those properties are pretty valuable, and rural development grants are generally reserved for low-income housing in areas where there's less population and so on. So, but there is federal funding for this. 40 years ago they paid for it all. Now they'll just loan you the money, but the current interest rate is, low single digits. But you've got a perfect opportunity out there, whether you run the pipe down Cott and take it all the way to the tribe, whether you take it into the city, it's the same treatment one way or the other. But you've got a large population. It's getting thicker, more dense, and I walked around Birchwood and Piney the other day. There's virtually no empty spaces there anymore anywhere.
It's hardly a right of way in there big enough to put a pipe in.
Oh, sure. You put the pipe in the road right away, yeah. And have to run laterals to all the houses, but that's the standard. And whether it would be, it undoubtedly would have to be part gravity, part pumped force main, because you've got to get it up some hills and down some hills and so on. But I mean, that's an engineering issue, not a political will.
Well, Richard, that's been looked at for a lot of years. Granted, it's been shelved for a lot of years too.
Right. I mean, the last
old story is in '71 we could have had it all and had it all paid for. But I won't go there.
Yeah, no, I don't. I won't either. Well, the question to me is, I mean, if I started rabble-rousing amongst the neighbors on this, am I going to run into a dead wall at the township, or is this something that you guys would look up favorably on if we could get some public support for it. And,
As you understand, it's not anything that would happen overnight, but it's
Oh, no,
certainly
no, no.
something that we can,
pardon?
it's certainly something that can be looked at, that's for sure.
Well, I appreciate that. Because I think that's a public improvement that could be a great enhancement to the township. It would enhance all the values of all those properties out there, increase your tax base a little bit. Not to mention, it's good for the environment. You know. We're all dripping up, particularly those people along Piney Road. They got to be just dripping right into Bar Lake. I don't know. I'm not sure where that stuff is going, but if it runs downhill, it's finding its way into Bar Lake one way or the other, or Lake Michigan. And
Okay.
so, thank you.
Anyone else? The only comment that I have is that the ladies have been working diligently on this corner over here. I don't know if people have noticed it or not, but they're not completed yet, but they keep this corner over here looking pretty nice. Welcome people to this.
55 and 31,
Yeah.
next to lunch.
That corner.
Our planting is due to happen soon.
It looks good.
Did you guys buy the old road commission building yet?
Pardon me?
You guys buy the old road commission building yet?
She's why not?
You want that or sewer?
And the armory.
Anything else?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am?
Before the year closes, this current fiscal year closes on June 30th, we have a budget allocation of $78,000 for roads. And we're not going to spend all of that before the end of the year. And I would like the board to consider a motion, and I'm happy to make the motion, that whatever the balance is in the road building line item for the 2015-16 budget be moved into restricted funds specifically for the Mylark Road project. And in order to utilize that money, in next year, it has to be restricted or we need to spend it. And since we know it won't get spent, I would like the board to consider restricting it so we can finish Mylark Road with it.
Do you understand what she's asking?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that a motion?
That's a moment.
It is.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Been moved and supported that we take 78?
That-
Well, whatever the balance is from the road fund at the end of our fiscal year,
to restricted funds.
restricted funds for Millard Road. Any further discussion?
No discussion.
All
Thank
in
you.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None carried. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Are they gonna do anything about the dumpster down there? Keep people from dumping garbage that's not supposed to be in there? Is there any way we can,
Tom, I wish there was. I'm not sure what can be done. I'm sure you're aware of the latest
yeah?
recyclable material was a truck topper.
Yeah.
Plastic?
Is there any way you,
Fiberglass.
Fiberglass.
And you cut it in half to get it in the dumpster.
is there any way you could put I don't know about a camera system if that's far away or?
Is there a sign that says what you can put?
Well, yeah, I
Yes.
can't read it, but
It says leaves only.
Oh, that one. I'm thinking of the other one.
You could even put
And
up a
on
fake
the ground in
camera.
front of it was the cutout.
Wait,
Oh, Necoma Township has a camera pointed right at it, and you might ask David whether it's working out or not.
It is. There is a distance, so quite a difference in distance between where theirs are and the fire alarm. You know, I'm sure you can get a camera that can accomplish both. But there's a little junk that's getting deposited around the townships I've seen that's a little concerning.
But then, okay, so we catch whoever it might be, so what?
They'll prosecute.
The
Okay.
sheriff's
Very much
office
so.
took
Have
it.
they
Yes.
done anything in that?
Yes, they have.
Okay,
Okay, what's the?
Is that,
There you go.
Is there
is that true, David, or Richard?
I don't know,
Do we have
I've
to have
never,
an
I've never heard of a crime of
Do
illegally
we have to-
recycling.
Do we have to have an ordinance in order to prosecute someone?
You don't have an ordinance that I'm aware of. We could certainly draft an ordinance, but I would think that you would want some, because I recycle it all the time, and when I don't do leaves, but I do my pop bottles and, you know, my cans and whatever.
Whiskey bottle.
The question is, one of the questions I have is, can you put paper in there? Can you recycle paper? It doesn't really say.
You can, but we prefer that you don't because the schools get the money for it. And there are 2 trailers, one at MCC and one at MHS.
Right. No, and if I got a lot, I'll take it, but I mean, you don't mind if if I bring a grocery bag full of cans, I can throw the grocery bag in with the
Oh,
cans
yes,
and,
yes.
yeah, okay.
But my question is if we go, well, John's question is if we go through the process and the expense of putting cameras on, and we do bust somebody for putting something in there that's not supposed to.
Right, well, then, you make it a civil infraction probably.
Put their name in the paper.
Make it a civil infraction, the sheriff's department will enforce local ordinances, and I don't know, do we have an agreement with the sheriff? We do. We have the standard agreement between the sheriff and the township, and we make the complaint to the sheriff, he'll write a civil infraction, and, you know, I'll prosecute it, or whoever you want to prosecute it in court. And, you know, it's a fine, and that's
Sounds
how
would be.
Not this place.
Okay. So we need an ordinance?
Yeah, you need
If we don't have one, we need one?
Well, either that or I can talk to Ford and find out what they prosecute under it now. Like I said, I don't do criminal work. I've never heard of illegal recycling before, but I don't imagine that if he's doing it.
They contaminated it with oil.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's illegal dumping, isn't it?
yeah,
Illegal dumping.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, either that or failure to put it in a landfill or whatever required.
All right.
Exactly.
Thank you.
But,
Tom's gone, I don't know if that answers this question or not. We have to pursue that too, because that cost is escalating. Anything else? Not a motion in order. I want to thank you and you for coming tonight. I anticipated much more activity. We'll get it when you're not here.